something we should consider, right? Is our workplace inclusive? Now, inclusive workplaces is not the same as diverse workplaces, meaning just because our workplace is super diverse, we have people from different cultures, different religions, different gender groups, different ethnicity. That doesn't mean that our workplace is inclusive. It just means our workplace is diverse. When we talk about an inclusive workplace is cooperative, collaborative, open, fair, curious, accountable, and so much more. An inclusive workplace is one that values individual differences in the workforce and makes them feel welcome as well as accepted. Inclusivity and diversity are moral and legal responsibilities, and employers should work hard to give diverse voices a platform. That last part, right? Giving diverse voices a platform, meaning allowing people who are different from ourselves to talk, to communicate, to discuss. The relationship between diversity and innovation is crucial to encouraging different perspectives and ideas that fosters innovation. Think about it, right? There are different scenarios and situations from everyday life as well as work life. Now, if you come from a different background, maybe you grew up overseas, chances are you might already have a solution to some of the issues that you face out here. And it becomes a matter of then translating it and implementing it. The other thing to think about is because you are different, or you have a different upbringing or different education or different work background or different experience that you've experienced, you might see a problem from a completely different perspective. Or you might be able to identify an issue that others can't. So the physical environment, when we talk about it, it includes land, air, water, plants, and animals, as well as buildings and any other infrastructure. It's all the natural resources that provide our basic needs and opportunities for social and economic development. A clean and healthy environment is important for people's physical as well as emotional well-being. Workspaces need to be accessible for all employees. So when we think about physical environment, we want to make it accessible for all employees. So for everybody. Examples of supportive and inclusive workplace. When we're talking about creating a supportive and inclusive workplace, it means creating a workplace, the physical infrastructure, as well as the technological infrastructure, which is conducive or suited for many people. When I say many people, I mean the different groups of people within our organization. Let's look at one. People with hearing impairments, as in hearing impaired, people who can't hear. The description would be, the term hearing impaired is often used to describe people with any degree of hearing loss, from mild to profound. Profound meaning like complete deafness or very close to complete deafness. This includes those who are deaf and those who are hard of hearing. Hard of hearing meaning it's difficult for them to hear. So what kind of needs could they possibly have when we look at a diverse work environment? Well, they might need special technology which allows them to hear better. They might need a different process. So for example, when we're having a team meeting, from a process perspective, we might say, okay, guys, when we're having a team meeting, let's use a round table as opposed to a rectangular table. In a round table, everyone can see each other. So even if someone has hearing issues, they can still see your lip movement and maybe lip read. So that could be seen as something that we can do. We can also encourage our coworkers to use gestures, to use body language. So when communicating, not only do it through vocal or orally, but use body language, use your hands, use your face, use your entire body quite essentially. We can also say from a process perspective, let's write messages down. Or after a meeting, let's send an email just to confirm we're on the same page. The really interesting thing is a lot of solutions to creating a supportive, inclusive workplace is good not only for the person who has a particular difference, but it's good for everybody. Like, think about it. How many times have we been in a meeting where we walked out, you're thinking, oh yeah, this is what we're doing. The person who was communicating is thinking, oh yeah, this is what we're doing. And they're completely different. We can also offer to send information through emails or have things pre-printed, which allows much easier communication and using gestures and hand signals as well. There's also physical resources that we could implement, which can be quite costly, but let's be honest, if it benefits society, then why not, right? So we might have special systems with microphones, which allows the person to be able to pick up what is being discussed. And they could have an amplifier, which amplifies our discussion. So this way they can hear better. So different options. I was listening to the radio last week, and I heard something really interesting. They were talking about the concept of having public bathrooms or public toilets in parks. And the person on the radio was saying, architects and architecture and town planning and building parks and so on. Now, if you are, say, a woman, a mother in particular, your requirements of a public bathroom become so much higher because when you're carrying a child around, you need to be able to take them to the toilet, wash them, clean them, whatever it might be. Whereas if you're a male or someone who's never had a child, that wouldn't be a big need for you. It would be seen almost as, yeah, having a bathroom's nice, but it costs a lot of money. Having a public toilet, so let's just skip it and spend more money on making the park look really nice. So here, having diverse perspectives, as in diverse ways of looking at it, allows us to identify situations and scenarios which somebody else might not consider, and therefore end up creating a better environment for everybody. In Australia, it wasn't that long ago that we had created a rule where all government buildings had to be accessible by wheelchair. It was the wheelchair accessible aspect. So a lot of buildings had to change their entrances. A lot of buildings that didn't have elevators had to have elevators installed. Now, if you think about this, right, having wheelchair accessibility is great for people who need a wheelchair. But then again, it also benefits everybody else in society. Imagine if you have a child and if you have a pram. Imagine if you are an elderly person and walking upstairs really hurts your knees. Walking on a ramp, which is more gradual, is a lot more comfortable. Imagine if you've got other health conditions where physical exertion, as in moving around physically, is quite difficult for you. Having elevators, having ramps, having escalators, as in the automatic escalators or travelators, it makes a huge difference. Do you guys remember the last time you were in a really, really big airport and you had to go from Terminal A to Terminal B, or gate number 12, which is the other side of where you are? Think about the benefits of having electronic devices, whether it's travelators, escalators, interconnecting trains. All these things makes it easier, makes it better. And when we think about inclusive workspaces, when we think about how do we make a workspace inclusive, we might be thinking about one particular community or some groups of community, but the benefits from solving a problem for them ends up benefiting the entire community. And that's what's beautiful about it.